got there, they proceeded to savagely beat him with pull sticks and boots and knives. Napoli basically scalped him.
At one point, he used a screwdriver to stab him in the head. Graver had puncture wounds to his head. He had a punctured lung.
Graver barely survived. Napoli stripped the 25-year Breed veteran of his colors and kicked him out of the gang.
I've been around a lot of things and a lot of clubs and never seen just the brutality of what he does.
The Pennsylvania Attorney General's office took notice of the bloody coup.
Napoli was to become more and more violent with his own members, and they were taking more chances.
These guys were out of control, and they needed to be dealt with.
In the same year, Agent Jeff Antonucci was assigned to supervise an operation designed to take the Breed down. Since the Breed's victims were usually too afraid to testify against them, authorities decided to nail the gang for their methamphetamine activities. But they knew it wouldn't happen overnight.
Our operation was officially titled Breed on a Wire.
Napoli revealed his lust for violence through wiretapped conversations.
You don't get to my tattoo shop and cover it up. I don't give a what we got in that club. I'm gonna cut his arm off, alright?
Napoli was usually very careful about how he ran his operation, but the state attorney general was onto him.
It was all about insulating themselves. John Napoli got to a point where he believed that if he didn't touch the methamphetamine, if he didn't handle it, he was isolated, and prosecution of him was going to be that much more difficult.
After a few months, authorities started making progress. They identified Napoli's most trusted foot soldier.
His club name was Tattoo Billy, and he was actually working his way quickly up the ladder of the club. He looked like, at the time during our investigation, he was next in line to be vice president of the club. And he took his instructions from John Napoli.
Tattoo Billy, by all accounts, he was John Napoli's right-hand man.
William Johnson, a.k.a. Tattoo Billy, owned a shop just outside Bristol called the House of 1,000 Tattoos.
That was a place where Napoli and Johnson met frequently. We believed it was, for the most part, a front to launder money.
Billy actually talked to the suppliers and arranged the deliveries and worked out the exchange of the money. And Billy might only have the actual meth in his hands for an hour.
The Breed was rolling in money.
The profit margin that they were making was phenomenal. John Napoli was in control of millions and millions of dollars worth of crystal meth.
Napoli had realized his dream. He was living the life of a mobster.
We described John Napoli and the Breed as the Sopranos on motorcycles because that's how he ran the organization.
The case was coming together, but authorities knew they needed an informant willing to testify. They saw the chance to make it happen in 2005.
That's when life changed.
In May, police raided the shop of local mechanic and Breed associate, Smokey. They busted him for possession of 3 ounces of meth.
They told me what I was facing and then asked me if I'd be willing to cooperate.
Before he could decide, Napoli himself paid Smokey a visit. He knew the feds had been there before him.
He pulls me out back and goes, if you work with the police, if I find out you're cooperating, I will blow your head off. As soon as he drove away, I called up. I said, let's get rocking. Let's go.
With Smokey on board, the agent agents began using him to make meth buys from breed members. But Smokey knew with Napoli, one slip-up meant he was as good as dead.
I had to be afraid every day being around him, because he should look for that one flaw in what you say and use it against you when I'm killing you.
Just months into the investigation, authorities got a critical break.
We knew from the telephone calls that there was a pending delivery on Monday, June 5th.
We were anticipating a major delivery of methamphetamine to Billy Johnson.
That large transaction was 5 pounds of crystal meth, worth approximately $100,000. Antonucci and his team sprung into action.
We had an airplane up. Everything was clear. The radio communications were good.
Jack, stay with the pickup truck.
We had a lot of people on the street, and we literally
SUV just pulled up. Johnson down with the passenger side of the vehicle.
tagged Billy Johnson and followed him the entire day.
Where they're taking what they got.
June 5th, 2006, 5:05 p.m. Tattoo Billy Johnson and his connection met at Morrell Avenue, and with authorities watching, exchanged packages.
Target vehicle.
Just after 5:50 p.m., Tattoo Billy returned home.
Yeah, pickup truck's at the intersection of Morrell.
Videotaped Johnson getting out carrying a shoebox.
We'll tell her that. You set it on the front steps of the house.
The box contained 5 pounds of crystal meth, which police would later seize. Later that day, authorities would arrest Tattoo Billy's supplier and confiscate the $100,000 he'd used to buy the drugs. Ironically, the money was stashed in a DVD box of The Sopranos television series.
Johnson made the exchange of money in a box that he had tucked under his arm that it was a Sopranos movie box.
This was enough evidence to secure search warrants for the breed's properties. When John Napoli heard about the raids, he was furious. He knew that there had to be a snitch, and immediately suspected an inside job. Napoli summoned Smokey to his home. Fearing he was a suspect, Smokey called the authorities.
I said, look, he wants me to come down there. And they're like, no, don't go down there. I said, dude, if I show up, they're not going to think I had enough balls to show up there and do it.
Smokey went to Napoli's house. When he arrived, Tattoo Billy and 4 other members were sitting around a table, talking.
Junior was trying to figure out who was the one around it. They just kicked out a few people's names.
Smokey's life hung in the balance.
And I had to sit across the table knowing that these guys, I know they'd kill me in a minute.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Police had built a case against the breed and their leader, John Jr. Napoli, with the help of a secret informant. Napoli smelled a rat and called a meeting at his home to peg the snitch.
And I'll tell you what, I was nervous through the whole thing. Well, I was sweating. Yeah, I thought I was done.
John Napoli never turned on Smokey, and he walked out of Napoli's house. The Pennsylvania Attorney General's office decided it was time to move in.
We acquired search warrants for 13 different locations, including residences of the breed and the breed clubhouse.
Later that day, a task force of 100 officers raided numerous breed properties, including the home of John Jr. Napoli.
We seized 22 pounds of crystal methamphetamine, and the wholesale street value of that was about $2.2 million.
We see somewhere around 100 firearms, including fully automatic machine guns, sawed-off shotguns. We seized somewhere around $500,000 in cash.
John Napoli and 14 other breed members, including Tattoo Billy, were arrested and charged with drug distribution. Their crystal meth ring, which had become a $6 million a year business, was shut down overnight. It was the biggest operation of its kind ever run by an outlaw motorcycle gang.
When Napoli took over the club, he turned the club into an organized crime family. I believe that's how he ran it. I believe that's what he wanted to do, and that's ultimately what he did.
In 2007, Napoli was convicted of conspiracy to distribute crystal meth, violent acts in the aid of racketeering, extortion, and 3 counts of possession of firearms. He remained defiant to the end.
The judge who was about to sentence him asked him if he had any words, and John stood up and looked the judge square in the eyes and said, "I got nothing to say to you."
Of the 15 breed members sentenced, Napoli received the stiffest punishment, 36 years in prison. In the end, many of Napoli's breed brothers ended up testifying against him.
John Napoli's ultimate downfall was his own ego. I don't think Napoli ever got the fact or the true meaning of what bikers were all about. He didn't support the brotherhood and treat those guys like they were a family. He treated them like they were expendable. And I think they realized it, and they were going to look out for themselves.
The last breed member standing was the national president, Salvatore "the Old Man" DiIulio. Many say he still has a hand in running the gang.
The old man runs everything. The old man runs everything. Everything goes by the old man. You know, whatever it is, it goes by him. That's what I know.
He's held the position for nearly 40 years. But many others have walked away. Big P says the gang's best days are in the past.
Half of the breed's ex-members are in other motorcycle clubs now, and all you have left are the hardcore drug addicts and people that are still entranced by DiIulio.
Big P thinks there's only one way for the gang to change its fortunes.
Probably have to get rid of the old man. I mean, if they were going to do that, but the future's already, unfolding for the breed.
The Pennsylvania Attorney General's office says the gang is far from dead. They believe the breed is rebuilding.
I think that as long as there are people who are dysfunctional and want to belong, but want to stay on the outside of society, the breed will be back.
They have reorganized. They have new prospects that they acquired. They still have for their monthly meetings. I think that they're still a criminal organization. I think they're absolutely still dangerous.
Smokey doesn't associate with the breed anymore and is trying to get his life back.
I'm off meth. Life's together the best it's ever been.
But he still fears retribution from the breed and John Napoli.
Yeah, Napoli would skip to me, absolutely. Like I'm sitting in this chair right now, but I ain't no good to anybody. I know his plan. I know how he works. He'll get me eventually.
Thanks for watching.